Hey guys, this is Mark Rodriguez. Welcome to another episode of Out on DVD, the show I talk about movies recently released on DVD. And yeah, I know it's been a while, but there really hasn't been any movies that interesting that really got me into it until now that we got Justice League War, which is based on the original 6 issues of the New 52 version of how Justice League met up. Well, kind of sort of. There's a lot of changes, and most of these movies that we've reviewed before, like Flashpoint and all that, after changes, but this is the first time that I've actually read and owned the 6 issues that this was based on. So let's take a look. First, let's start with the story. Now, this takes place a little further back, before the big DC superheroes like Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman and all them were all well known and loved by the general people. And this time, people don't know these people yet, and everyone's like scared and confused about these people that can fly and lift heavy objects, and Batman himself is an urban myth. Well, right now we got aliens going around all over these cities like Gotham City, Central City, and so forth, snatching people up and planting bombs and doing all kinds of weird stuff. And well, when you mess with Gotham City, you end up messing with Batman. So Batman gets involved, and he meets up with the Green Lantern, and eventually they meet up with all the other DC heroes all over the world. And the thing is that these aliens are actually planning a big worldwide invasion, and they're bringing in Darkseid. So the main question is, with all this going on, can these heroes that still at this time don't know or trust each other, can they actually get along long enough to save the world when it needs them the most? And now for the characters. Well, it's a little difficult in this particular case to describe the characters too much without spoiling the movie. That goes into the opinions part of the movie, but of this review. But generally, you have to remember that some of these characters are just starting out, and they're not the main characters that we know them to be as they are today. And that's one of the complaints that they've gotten when they was the original New 52 version of the comic. Now, Batman is pretty much the same. I do hear, the familiar Batman that knows everything, awesome detective, martial arts skills. You know the story. You know who he is. And I guess people complain a bit about his voice sounding a bit younger and not quite, the warrior voice that we're used to. But I guess you can also chalk it up to Batman, being younger in this version. The Green Lantern is also extremely cocky and everything, pretty much like a college frat boy in attitude and personality. But again, he's younger, he's starting out. And of course, the biggest complaint people had about was Superman too. Superman being a bit more rough and aggressive, a bit more violent towards people. I mean, he just basically grabbed Batman by the throat and it's like, talk before I don't let you and everything. There were all these complaints about, but he wouldn't do that. But then again, this is a different Superman. And from what I found out in the New 52, the first thing everyone did was basically go after him. Everyone's like attacking him. So he has reason to not trust humanity and not be the, super goody that we know today. And Wonder Woman, of course, is vicious and violent and eager to just jump into battle and slice some heads off and everything. She's on her main mission. I guess this is the part of the story where she's leaving the island of Themyscira and going to make relations with us in order to come in peace and all that stuff. But she's a bored princess. She just wants to kick some ass. Just want to do all the political junk. And the Flash, I don't think we really get that much personality out of the Flash in general. He's just a serious guy. We know he works for the CSI, and we know that he knows the Green Lantern beforehand, but we don't know that. I mean, he didn't really do all that much in the story. Cyborg, Victor Stone, we actually got to see him as this college player that was trying his best to make it to college. And it's like his dad is super rich, can afford everything, but he wants to earn it himself. He wants to earn scholarships and everything, but he feels upset that his dad is just too busy with all the science stuff and studying the superheroes than to care about him. So of course we see how he does become Cyborg. And, the big thing also is that instead of having Aquaman in the movie, now we have Shazam in the movie, and it was kind of weird how the kid was Shazam already. And yeah, he's like, I don't know, that's how he always was, because I remember his comics were kind of corny and stuff back in the 60s, 70s, whatever. Now he's like this kind of street tough kid that sneaks into places without paying, and he's kind of rude, and I don't know, whatever, And I did feel kind of cheated that we didn't get to see his origin. He was already Shazam, And, well, I guess they couldn't fit it all in one movie, but still. And, of course, the main villain, Darkseid, we didn't really know much about him. He's just evil. But really, most of the time, what do you know about him besides that he's evil and all-powerful, and you should all bow to the almighty Darkseid and all that. So I don't think you really need that much of a character development. But those are most of the characters that we see here. They're all pretty much portrayed the way we see them. So you have to remember that these are younger, more inexperienced versions of the ones that we know today. And not to mention it's the New 52 version of how they are today. Now, for my opinions on the movie, like I said before, most of these, well, okay, all these DC movies, like Under the Red Hood and The Death of Superman, and the Flashpoint Paradox, all those movies are based on pre-existing comic books or graphic novels or what have you. And this is the first one that I've ever had the chance to actually read and own already, so it was pretty cool. I mean, I knew the story, I knew the changes, and well, in my thoughts, I did like the movie. It was pretty cool. It was kind of weird seeing the changes. I don't know how many people actually care or upset that Aquaman was not in it, but honestly speaking, he really did not have that big of a role in the comic. The most thing I remember him was just popping up being like, "You guys need a leader, I vote for me," or something, and then he drew a giant shark to eat one of the aliens, and that's probably the most spectacular thing he did, and not much else. The story isn't really all that changed, and also, for people, if you read the comic book, it was very simple. It was extremely simple, and also it was really stretched out because there was all these gigantic posters and 2-page posters and everything. So the basic story was basically the heroes meet, aliens, Darkseid comes, they stop them at the end. So this movie really did a better job of fleshing it out. We had to see more of the alien invasion. We had to see people getting snatched off the streets. We had to see more people talking. Of course, it dug deeper into Cyborg's origin. It showed a lot of how all that went down and how he saved them and everything. And how he talks with Shazam. Of course, we get to know the kid a little bit before he became Shazam. And it was just more detailed. It was just more expanded upon. And I gotta say, it was pretty, I don't know, it was pretty disgusting the way they had this thing where the humans are basically harvested, and I guess they get messed up and rearranged or whatever until they turn into those more alien invaders of those parademons. That's all kinds of fucked up right there. And I guess they wanted to make Superman into a super version of those things. But yeah, that's, wow. And, well, as for the designs, everyone looked pretty much the same, I think. Wonder Woman had a very weird design. I mean, her New 52 design is just kind of sort of more hip, updated version of what she always looked like. So, I don't know, but it just looked kind of weird. And then, what's his name? Darkseid did not really need all that extra junk on him. He had all these, the shoulder pads, all this extra detail stuff. I don't know. I mean, again, he looks like he always looked in New 52, just, I guess, drawn more badass, but he did not need all that extra armor and crap. It just looked weird on him. But other than that, it was a good fight. I mean, because like I said, in the comics, he barely had time to come in and get defeated, and that's it, But this one, I mean, it was an all-out battle. They really beat the damn crap out of him, and he just, I mean, he was unstoppable. He basically broke Green Lantern's arm right off the bat. They stabbed both his eyes. He was still kicking all kinds of ass anyways. Even the heroes are like, we stabbed both his eyes, and he still, it was like an awesome fight right there. And well, what can I say? I guess some of the changes that were kind of weird. I guess the one that got me kind of threw me off was that the movie from the beginning was really doing a good job going straight from the comic book, but the weird thing was the Flash wasn't brought in until a bit later. In the comic book version, Green Lantern was actually calling the Flash to help while he was still stuck in the bubble with Batman, and Superman was punching him around. And you know how Flash is, I mean, he just showed up right away and everything. So it was kind of weird. So we never got to see Superman trying to hit the Flash, and that whole scene with them talking in the sewers and everything. It was weird not seeing the Flash standing there, and I mean, it was just different, I don't know. But either ways, it was a good movie. I liked it. It wasn't changed that dramatically, and apparently it looks like there's going to be a sequel of it. I won't spoil too much. You gotta wait. Just do it like we always do it like the Marvel movies. Just stay and watch the ending credits. You'll like what you're going to see. And finally, will you like the movie? Well, I would say you would. I mean, it's a good DC Comics movie. It's pretty awesome. It's an updated version of how the Justice League met and got together and everything. And, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you don't like the New 52, you hate all the new changes and new costumes and new attitudes and everything, maybe you won't like it or something. But, I don't know. I don't think it's that dramatic. I mean, the only difference in characterization must be, I guess, Superman being much more bolder and aggressive than what we're used to. And yeah, Superman and Wonder Woman were kind of flirting and hitting it off right off the bat. Now, I do know that in New 52 that does happen, and in fact it's happening now, but it didn't happen right off the bat when they first met, So that might be kind of weird. People might be saying, well, what about Lois Lane? What about Steve Trevor? I don't know. But, yeah, I think the movie's pretty good. I don't think it's really that off or that weird. And, I mean, I don't really think that many people would be complaining that Aquaman wasn't in it because, again, he really didn't do that much of a big thing in the story. And I gotta say, it was kind of weird how they mentioned TMZ and World of Warcraft. It's just weird references you don't expect in that. But anyways, guys, yeah, I would say if you're a fan of the Justice League in general, all these characters, you'll love it. I don't really see a reason why you wouldn't, unless you're like real hell-bent against the New 52. You're bound to love it. So I'd say it's worth checking it out. If you're any kind of Justice League, Batman, Superman, whatever fan, at the very least, rent it and check it out. It's pretty good. And if you can, try to find the original comic books this was based on. They're also pretty good in their own right. Anyways, guys, that's the end of this episode of Out on DVD. Like I said, I know it's been a while, but hey, there's more movies coming out. There's more movies coming out that are worth checking out, like the new Batman and Son that'll be coming out later this year, so that's also worth checking a look. You know I want to review that. But the main thing, guys, is that I'm also open to suggestions. Like last time we had that Bruce Lee movie because someone suggested it. So yeah, you guys, any movie that recently come out, or I'll make an exception in your case, any movie that's come out already a few years back or whatever. I mean, how old is the Bruce Lee movie? Really, you know? But whatever you guys want to do, let me know. Leave some kind of comment below, some comments, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And let me know. I mean, any movie you want me to check out, talk about, and go into detail, drop me a holler. So anyways, guys, this is Mark Rodriguez here, and I'll be seeing you on DVD.